and so for this, she needs to work a lot. And to minimize the effects of diabetes, she walks around 1 hour every day. And after coming from outside, she prepares our breakfast. And when she had finished with her breakfast, then already the maid has come into our home, and she assists with the maid to do all the household chores, like for floor sweeping and sometimes dishwashing and also cloth washing. And these sorts of works are really, we are really dependent on our mother. So she always does her best to do all sorts of work within in time. And as we are a busy family, and our father and me myself goes for work, so she prepares a delicious lunch whenever we come from our work, and we sit around on the table, and she offers us with her homemade foods, and we enjoy the foods. And after enjoying the foods, she likes to advise us about the ongoing problems. And sometimes she likes to wash the dishes which are dirty on the table.
Okay, Minas,
And
thank you.
after
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
washing,
Thanks a lot. So who's the next one? So is there any volunteer to give a presentation? So what does your favorite person do every day? Turn on your video, please, and I'm gonna give you the opportunity. Who is the next one? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go back. We'll go back. So I assume. Okay, so now I have got a question. Is how many times have you practiced? What does your favorite person do every day? Please type in the chat box. I'd like to see. Just I'm curious, very curious. Type in the chat box. How many of you? Okay, Mina said 15 times. Excellent. Congratulations. Fatima said, till I'm perfect. Excellent. 15 times. Okay. Jonah said 15 times. Excellent. Excellent. Sanjida said 5 times. Okay. I'm not happy with that. Joshua said 80 times. Excellent. Furudujama said 15 times. Excellent. So, you know, the reason I always request you to practice this, especially what does your third person do every day. So when you study speaking, we don't think a lot about the grammatical rules and regulation. But when you practice like this topic 15 times, then naturally you will not make any mistakes. That's the only reason. That's the psychology behind it to give you this presentation. So I would request you, please do it. Please do it. And always I share with my students. So there are 3, so when you have got some sort of sickness, you go to the doctor. And what does doctor do? Please type in the chat box. So when you are sick, you go to the doctor. And what does doctor do? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. Suggest medicine, prescription, prescribed. Yeah, give prescription. So when students come to me, and ask always, so how can I, increase my fluency? And I always give them answer. I always prescribe them 3 medicine. Number 1 is practice these 2 questions. So what do you do every day? And number 2 is what does your favorite person do every day? So these are the 2 medicine always I prescribe. So if you'd like to develop your fluency, do one thing. When you get up early in the morning, practice once. When you come to bed at night, practice another time. So if you practice these 2 questions, what do you do every day, and what does your favorite person do every day? So you will see how you're gonna develop your fluency. That's the prescription I'm giving you right now. So can you please type in the chat box how many questions you have to practice every day? Type in the chat box. So the first question is, what do you do every day? And the second question is, what does your favorite person do every day? So if you practice just these 2 questions, and I'm prescribing you right now, if you have got some sort of a struggling with fluency, it's gonna develop a lot. All you got to do, you need to practice in the morning and you need to practice in the evening, twice, right? 2 questions twice, that's the medicine for you. 2 questions. So how many times? Please type in the chat box. How many times you got to practice this? Twice, 2 times, morning and in the evening. And you got to do it until you are happy with your fluency. That's the only medicine I'm going to give you. For example, so doctor prescribe you, keep continue this medicine until you are cured. The same way I'm going to telling you. So if you have got some sort of problem with fluency, please keep practicing these 2 questions every day, early in the morning and when you go to bed. Done, right? Anyway, now I'd like to go and get back to the whiteboard. So again, I'm going to say, so the first structure was subject plus verb. Can you please type in the chat box? What was the first structure? Structure 1 was subject plus verb, right? Please type in the chat box. Subject plus verb. Yeah, that was the first structure. So the same way, so we have practiced subject plus verb. So, and we practiced, I practice, we practice, you practice, they practice, he practices, she practices, it practices, Tony practices. So that was the structure 1. Then that was the structure 1. Then structure 2, how to ask questions. So for interrogative and negative sentences, we use do. So we add do, and do will be behind the subject. So this is the subject, behind the subject is do. So this is how we practice. Do I practice? Do you practice? Do you practice? Do they practice? Does he practice? Does she practice? Does it practice? Does Tony practice? So this is how we practice in the last class. Now, this is the class about deep questions, right? So if you'd like to ask deep questions, you need to add structure 3. That is called WS word. So can you please type in the chat box, what are the WS words you know? I'd like to see. Please type in the chat box, what are the WS words you know? Type in the chat box. Type in the chat box, please. So now we will ask deep questions. So to ask deep question, we need to use, okay, Mina said how, which, when. Yeah, that's right. What, where, when, why, who. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, how, who. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to start with why. Right? So now, the same thing. You got to follow the flow of structure. So I'm going to start with something like this. Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice? Very simple, right? All you got to do, you need to follow the sequence. So the first structure was subject plus verb. So I practice. The second structure was do I practice. The third structure was now we're gonna practice is why do I practice. So if I take the subject you, can you please give me the first structure? So the subject is you. So and the verb is practice. Can you please type in the chat box? What would be the first structure? So yeah, that's right. You practice. I'd like to see everyone's comment in the chat box. So the first structure, subject plus verb. So subject is you, verb is practice. Can you please type in the chat box? Okay, you practice. Yeah, that's right. You practice, you practice, you practice. Now, structure 2. Can you please type in the chat box? What would be the structure 2? Structure 2. What would be the structure 2? Type in the chat box. So do you practice? And you need to have a question mark as well, right? So do you practice? Do you practice? Do you practice? Now, structure 3. So now, the same way, just we need to add WS word. So why, right? So what would be the structure 3? Why do you practice? Excellent. Yeah, this is how we need to practice. Now we knew it, but knowing and doing completely different things, right? So you don't know until you can use it. So if you say I know it, I don't believe it. If you can use it, then I would say you know it. So now to know it properly, we got to practice a lot. So now I'm gonna pull up my presentation and we're gonna practice together. So are you ready? If you're ready, please type in the chat box, ready. I'd like to see how many of you are really ready to practice this structure. Okay, so now I'm taking you to, okay. Here you go. So this is the structure we're gonna practice right now. So all you got to do, so we're gonna start with why. So I'm gonna show you first how to practice, then I will invite you to practice with me, and this is how we'll practice a lot. And then I'm going to give you some sort of session in a breakout room. If you don't practice, you cannot ask question. So if you practice a lot, at the end of this practice session, then I will invite you to the breakout room and I'll give you a topic, and just you need to ask a lot of questions and your participant will answer. So we're going to start with the why. So the first would be something like this. Listen to me and watch to me fast. So why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do we practice? Why do we practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice? Right? So now I need a volunteer, and I would like to, okay, so Meenakshi, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using why? You need to unmute yourself first. Okay, not available. Sometimes we got technical issue. Okay, so next one, Donna, can you please unmute yourself and yeah, give me all the sentences. Why?
Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice?
Excellent, excellent. Please type in the chat box. Thanks, Donna. So next one, Isra, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using why?
Yes. Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So Hanish, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences?
Thank you. Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice?
Excellent, excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Hanish. Okay, so now we got it, right? So when we see the subjects, he, she, it, Tony, we are not saying why do, we say why does, because these are the subjects. He, she, it, Tony, we say why does he, why does she, why does it, why does Tony. So these are the only differences we got to remember. Now, what I'm gonna do, I will unmute yourself and we're gonna practice together, right? So the same way, so when I say go, you need to start and we're gonna finish together. So please, participants, please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. Why do I practice?
Why do I practice? Why do you practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does he practice? Why does Tony practice? Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does you practice?
Why
Excellent.
does they practice? Why does he practice?
Excellent.
Why
So,
does she practices? Why does it Tony practice? Why does Tony practice?
okay, excellent. So have you noticed that some of you have started, well, all of us, we have started in the same time, but we finished probably, we are taking a bit longer. The reason is because still we have got inertia in our mouth. That's why we can make a lot of sentences a bit faster. So this time we have got a challenge. The challenge is you got to give me all the sentences using one breath, right? Take a big breath. And when I say go, you got to give me all the sentences using one breath, right? So this is how we need to practice a bit faster. So the challenge is one breath. Can you please type in the chat box? How many breaths? Type in the chat box how many breaths you got to take to give me all the sentences. Okay, so now I'm gonna unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Why do I
Why do
practice?
I practice? Why do we
Why
practice?
do I practice? Why?
Practice, why do we practice?
Why do
Why
I
do we
practice?
Why
Why
practice?
does
does
he practice? Why does he practice? Why does Tony practice? Why does he
does
practice?
it
Why
practice?
do I practice? What does
Tony practice. Why does
Excellent. Excellent. So now I'd like to check whether you can give me all the sentences using one breath or not. Right. So Rifat, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using one breath?
Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does she practice? Why does he practice? Why does it Tony practice? Why does it practice?
Excellent. How many breaths have you taken?
I think so, 2.
2. Okay. So that means we haven't done yet, right? We need to do a bit more practice. Okay. Anyway, thanks, Rifat. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Rifat. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I would like to give this opportunity to Sadia Islam. Can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences? Sadia, please unmute yourself. Okay, sometimes Zoom is weird. You can't unmute yourself. I do understand. Okay, so next one is Burhanuddin. Can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using one breath?
Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Burhan. Excellent. I'd like to see another one, right? So, okay, please mute yourself. If you hear the background sound and if it is you, please mute yourselves, right? So, Shahanas, please unmute yourself. This is your opportunity. Give it a try, okay?
Okay, sir.
Mhm.
Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice?
Thank you. How many breaths have you taken?
1.
1. Excellent. Please type in the chat box. Please type in the chat box. Thanks. Okay. Last one. Uzifa, can you please unmute yourself? Give it a try.
Why do I practice? Why do we practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice? Why does he practice? Why does she practice? Why does it practice? Why does Tony practice?
Excellent. How many breaths have you taken?
1 time.
Yes, well done. Thank you. So now I'm going to unmute all of you. Please unmute yourself and give a best try. This time, just take one breath. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Why do I practice?
Why do I practice? Why do you practice? Why do you practice? Why do they practice?
Why
do they practice?
I
I practice. Why
practice.
she
Why
practices?
does
Why
he
she
practice?
why
Why
does
does
she
he
practice?
practice?
Why
Why
does
does
it
it
practice?
practice?
Why
Why
does
does
Tony
he
practice?
practice?
Why does Tony practice?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. You got it. You got it. Now, so we're going to practice the next one. How? Using how. It's going to be the same. Just we need to follow the sequence, right? So how do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice, right? So this is how we're going to practice. So now, again, I'm going to unmute yourself. And the WS question is how. And you got to go the same way. Ready? So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. How?
How do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice?
Do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice?
He's practice. How she practice? How does it practice? How does practice?
Excellent. 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 So now, just I'd like to check whether you can do it or not. So Sava, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using one breath? You need to unmute yourself, Sava.
How does I practice? How does you practice? How does we practice? How does you practice? How does they practice? How does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Okay, Sava. Just you need to remember. So listen to me again. How do I practice? Not does, right? So how do I practice? How do we practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? Then when we say he, then how does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice? So I know this is a bit complicated, and anyway, we'll make it easy. The more we're gonna practice, is gonna be easy, and it comes to our mouth. And once we're gonna get the opportunity to ask someone else this question, we don't have to take a long period of time to make the sentence in our brain. Then it has to become to the mouth. Then we're gonna ask, right? It's a long process. So if we practice a lot, then you will see just instantly you can make a sentence and you can say, hey, how did you do that, right? Whatever the questions you need to make, you can make instantly and you can ask. That's why we are practicing a lot. Now, again, I'm gonna unmute all of you. Please be honest with yourself and practice, play full, right? And I'm gonna share with you another story with you. So how I practice with my session. So now I'm your teacher, but I had a course. I'm gonna share it in a minute. So I was a student, and how I practiced with them. I'm going to share with you. So now, please unmute yourself, and your WS question is how, and we're gonna practice, right? So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
How do I practice? How do I practice? How do you
Practice, how do you
practice?
practice? How do you
How do
practice?
you
How do you
practice?
practice? How do you
How do
practice?
you
How
How
does
do
he
they
practice?
practice?
How
How
does
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 how
he
does
practice? How does
how
it
do we
practice?
practice?
How does Tony practice? How does Tony practice?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box if you have done in one breath? How many breaths have you taken to give me all the sentences? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. How many breaths have you taken? Okay, so Shana said 1, Ayan said 1, Mahbub said 1, Muzifa said 1, Donna said 2. Okay, Donna, that's fine. But I think at the end of this practice session, you can make it in one breath, right? So take sip of water if you need and hydrate yourself, right? So now I'd like to hear from someone else. So Tasin Sharif, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences using one breath?
How do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Okay, Tasin, thank you. So how many breaths have you taken?
1.
You sure?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not
So
sure.
yeah, that's fine. So we will try our best to make all the sentences using one breath. Now I'm gonna request another student. Please mute yourself, Tasin. So Jafrina, can you please unmute yourself and give me all the sentences? You need to unmute yourself first. Okay. Okay, so next one is, I'm not sure what's your name. So on the device, it say Ready J. Can you please unmute yourself?
How do I practice? How will he practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? Does she practice? How does he practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. What's your name?
My name is Raja.
Raja. Okay, thanks, Raja. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Raja. So Nasir Ahmed, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, how do I practice? How do we practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How does he practice? How does she practice? How does it practice? How does Tony practice?
Excellent, Nasir. Excellent. So please type in the chat box. Thanks, Nasir. And the last one, just I'd like to test. So on the device, it say POCOM2, right? Can you please unmute yourself and give it a try? Okay. Okay. Can't unmute. Okay. So, okay, excellent. So the story I'd like to share with you is, so I think last 4 days. So it started from Thursday, then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, 4 days. And you are enjoying class with me for 90 minutes. And can you guess How long was my class? Please type in the chat box. I'd like to see if you can gauge. How long was my class? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. So my class, okay, gauge and answer. So Mina said 1 hour. Rifat said 90 minutes. Anybody else? 90 minutes. Maybe 1 hour 45 minutes. Okay. 1 hour 30 minutes. 2 hours. No, not yet. Even not close to that. Type in the chat box. Okay. The class started Thursday at 2:30 o'clock. And the class ended 3 a.m. in the morning. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? So 2:30 o'clock in UK time, because the presenter, the speaker, he was from USA, so they are following Eastern time. So 2:30 o'clock, that was, I think, morning for them, 9 o'clock around. And when I finished, that was 3 a.m. I was just sleeping and, you know, doing the next time. And anyway, there was no, I mean, there was not any sort of opportunity to turn off your video. If you turn off your video, they're gonna kick you out from the class, right? And now, so 2:30 o'clock, from 2:30 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, how many hours? Please type in the chat box. I'd like to see. How many hours? Can you guess? How many hours? Count and type in the chat box. So I started my class Thursday, 9:30 o'clock, and it finished 3 a.m. in the morning. How many hours? Let's see if you can count and if you can answer me. So 2:30 o'clock and then 3 o'clock, right? So if I count 2:30 and 3:30 is 12 hours, right? So that means 12 and a half. And the last class was Sunday, and it finished 4 o'clock in the morning, right? And now, can you guess how many participants were there in the class? Type in the chat box. Type in the chat box. How many participants were there in the classroom? Okay, someone said 50 plus, 43, 34, 100. Okay. So the class, the participant, there were 30,000 participants in the class, 30,000 students in the class. Type in the chat box, 30,000, right? So they used a Zoom, and they can accommodate 5,000 in one Zoom room, right? So they have got virtual studio, and yeah, this is how they conducted the class. 30,000 participants. And guess how much I paid for that class for 4 days in pound. Type in the chat box. I'd like to see if you can guess and if you can answer me. How much money I paid for this class? 4 days, 2:30 to 3 o'clock in the morning. How much money I paid? And that was the beginning of the course, right? So someone said 100 taka. Okay, so I paid 450 pounds. That was the beginning of the course, as I said. And after finishing that course, I have bought another course. And guess how much I paid for them. Type in the chat box. How much I paid for that course. So I have bought the course. And what is the price of the course? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see if you can guess. 4,500. Okay, type in the pound, right? Someone said 10,000. Is it 10,000? Is it taka or pound, Munshi? Type in the chat box. Is it pound? Okay, 300 pounds. Okay, I'd like to share with you my screen, right? So you can see my email. And if I go to, so Claudia, she served me. Are you ready? I'm gonna open the invoice. Are you ready? Okay, this is the invoice. Type in the chat box how much I paid. There was last night how much I paid. Type in the chat box. Is $14,990, right? $14,990 I paid for this program. It's called Unlimited Mastery, right? Type in the chat box how much I paid. And now I'm gonna tell you why I'm sharing with this. Why I'm sharing with you this, right? It's very vital to know. Okay. Okay. So now tell me why I have paid so much money, right? So it's 14,990, right? Okay, first thing I'd like to share with you. So if you'd like to do something better in your life, you have to invest in yourself, right? So I'm not giving them the money, I'm investing in myself, right? So now, gaze. Who is the trainer? Type in the chat box, who is the trainer? I paid $14,990 for the whole year. Who is my trainer? From whom I'm learning. Type in the chat box if you can gaze. Who is my trainer? Someone said Steve. No. Who is my trainer? Okay. So the trainer, his clients is like Bill Clinton. So he trained Bill Clinton. He trained, what is called her name? The table tennis player. I think it's William something. And he is training billionaire and millionaire, right? And that's why he charges a lot of money. And probably I'm gonna, okay, so we have got a course like 7 days, and that's gonna be 24 hours. Just probably they're gonna give you 5 hours to sleep, and the whole 7 days, just you will be in that room. If it is virtual, you have to be in front of the computer. If it is in the room, you have to be in the room, right? And in this class, a lot of things happening, right? They do jumping, they do dancing, they do a lot of things because you need a lot of energy, and that's why they do things. And why I'm sharing it with this is, number one is invest yourself, and number two is learn from the best. So can you please type in the chat box? So if you learn from the best, would you get the best result or the bad result, worst result? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. I would like to see. So if you learn from the best, if you learn such a trainer who trained up Bill Clinton, ex-president of USA, will you get the best result or the worst result? Best result, of course, because the things you're putting in, you're gonna get the return, right? So that's why I'm gonna request you, whatever the opportunity you have got, invest in yourself, whether it is the course, whether it is the MS Word, whatever it is the, skill language, skill set, whatever you need. Invest in yourself and you will get in return many folds. That's the thing I have learned from my mentor, right? So now I'd like to take you to my presentation again. So we were here in the presentation, okay? So now, the thing I have shared with you, why I'm sharing it with you? Because I would like to grow myself. I'd like to grow my business. I'd like to develop my personally. So that's called personal development, right? So the course I have taken, this is all about, okay, so business master, this is all about the business. So Tony Robbins, his name is, he's gonna teach me how to grow my business, 10x, right? And he has got another program, it's called Live Mastery. There, he's gonna teach me how to take care of myself. It's all about mindset, health, whatever, spiritual things, all the things. And that's why they are charging a lot of money. It's 14,990. It's not a joke, right? And when I pull out my, wallet and I took my card, my hand was shaking. But I'm glad I did it. And now I'm gonna ask you a question. So I invested 14,990. Do you think I'm committed to this program? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. Do you think I'm committed for this program? Please type in the chat box. Do you think I'm committed? I paid 14,990. Am I committed for this program? Of course I am, because I paid tons of money, right? My wife, she said, are you crazy? You're gonna pay $14,990. I said, yeah, because I'm so ambitious. My target is there, right? If you'd like to reach there, so I'm here right now. So I need someone else who can help me to go there. And that's why I got to invest myself, right? So now, of course, I'm committed. Do you think I will be in the class, I will be in the event, whether it is Miami or New York or Washington, D.C. or in London? So I'll be in the event on time or I'll be late. Type in the chat box. Please type in the chat box. Do you think I'll be in the class on time or I'll be late? Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, of course. I'm not gonna be there on time. I'll be there in time, probably 1 hour earlier. If I miss something, right? So why I'm saying this? Because I know if you pay attention. And not I'm gonna tell you to pay me to make the commitment. But what I'm saying is, you got to tell yourself that this is the course I'm doing right now is worth of £100, right? 10,000 taka. And also tell yourself that I paid 10,000 taka or £100. You'll be committed. You'll be in the class on time. And once I request you to and you practice a lot, you're gonna play full. Do you think when I'm gonna go to this program, and if they give me some sort of chorus like practice loudly, what I'm gonna do? Will I practice? I mean, quietly, or will I practice loudly, like screaming? Type in the chat box. Type in the chat box, right? So you got to understand this thing, and you know the difference between failure and successful people is only these two things. Number one, to understand, and number two, to execution. So if you understood the course will change your life, you got to be committed. You got to listen to me, and you need to play full. It's not 50%, 60%. If I tell you to practice 10 times, you got to practice 10 times. And I'm glad that some of you practice 17 times, 18 times. You're gonna do better. Okay, so and I'm really excited to see at the end of this course who's gonna be the best performer, who's gonna be rewarded with our IELTS course, £200, right? So I'd like to see. Anyway, now we're gonna go back to practice. So now the next one is where, right? So usually I used to say this, where? No, don't say where, right? Where. So now we're gonna practice with where. So the same way we're gonna practice. So where do I practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does Tony practice? Now, I'd like to unmute yourself and I'd like to request you to practice with me. Are you ready? If you're ready, please type in the chat box ready. I'd like to see how many of you are really ready to practice with me. Okay, now I'm gonna unmute yourself. So you're gonna practice with where, not where, right? So please unmute yourself. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start. Where do you practice?
Where do you practice? Where do you
Thank you. So we're gonna do it one more time, but this time our challenge is one breath. How many breaths? Can you please type in the chat box? We're gonna make all the sentences using one breath. Type in the chat box. One breath. Okay. Now. So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
What do I practice?
What do you
What does he practice? What does Tony practice?
Thanks a lot. So now I'd like to check. So Babu, can you please unmute yourself? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you please give me all the sentences using
What do I practice? What do we practice? What do you practice? What do you practice? What do they practice? What does he practice? What does she practice? What does it practice? What does Tony practice?
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Babu. And now I'd like to give this opportunity to another one. So Bikram, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes. Where do I practice? Where do we practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where does they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does Tony practice?
Excellent. Please type in the chat box. Thanks, Bikram. Now, I'd like to get another volunteer. So Fatima Akhtar, can you please unmute yourself? Can you? Okay, so next one is Mahmouda Sharna. Can you please unmute yourself?
Where do I practice? Where do we practice? Where do you practice? Where do you practice? Where do they practice? Where does he practice? Where does she practice? Where does it practice? Where does practice?
Thank you. Thank you. Please type in the chat box. Thanks, Sharna. Now, the next one, we would like to practice it how long, right? So the same way. So how long do I practice? How long do we practice? How long do you practice? How long do you practice? How long do they practice? How long does he practice? How long does she practice? How long does it practice? How long does Tony practice? So this is how we're going to practice. Are you ready? So now, if you're ready, please type in the chat box ready. I'd like to see how many of you are really, really ready to practice. Type in the chat box ready. Okay, got it, got it. Okay, as I told you, you have to think that you pay 10,000 taka or 100 pound for this program, and you need to play full. So once you play full, you will get the result, right? And this is how you need to play with your mind. So now I'm gonna unmute yourself, all of you. Please unmute yourself and ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
How long do I practice? How long do we 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 practice? How long
do we practice? How do we practice? How do you practice?
How long I practice? How long we practice? How long you practice? How long we practice? How long do they practice? How long practice? How long she practice? How long he practice? How long?
Yeah, thank you. So I think these sentences are a bit longer, and still I'd like to check how many of you can do it by one breath. If you can do it by one breath, type 1. If you cannot, type 2. I'd like to see how many of you can make a lot of sentences using one breath and how many cannot. Okay. Okay, so this time, this is our challenge. What are we gonna do? We're gonna practice a bit faster, right? So I'm gonna unmute yourself again, and please do due diligence and do practice with me, right? So please unmute yourself. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
How long do I practice? How do I practice? How do you practice? How do you practice? How do they practice? How we do? Does he practice? How does she practice? How does he practice? How does Tony practice? How long does Tony practice? How long does Tony practice?
Where do you practice?
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So now I'd like to request you, Sadia Islam. Can you please unmute yourself and give it a try? Okay. So if you have got any technical issues, please type in the chat box and we will sort it out. But if you ignore us, so my admin will remove you from this room and they'll report you. So once they do that, you cannot come back, right? So that means it's like Facebook blocking, right? Sadia, can you please make a lot of sentences using how long?
How long do I practice? How long do you practice? How long do you practice? How long do they practice? How long does he practice? How long does she practice? How long does it practice? How long does Tony practice?
Excellent. Can you please type in the chat box? Thanks, Sadia. So last one, Asim Abjal, can you please unmute yourself and give a try? Asim, can you hear us? Okay, so Meenakshi, can you please give a try? Unmute yourself fast.
How long do I practice? How long do we practice? How long do you practice? How long does they practice? How long does he practice? How long does she practice? How long does it practice? How long does Tom practice?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. So the last one is which. So normally when we get this which, we put a noun. For example, which country, which language, right? Which job, which school, which university. So this is how we make a lot of sentences. So all you got to do, we need to put a noun after which. So for example, this time we're gonna put which language, right? So now I'm gonna making a lot of sentences using which language. So which language do I practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do they practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does it practice? Which language does Tony practice? So this is, I think, the difficult one to pronounce, right? So now this time we're going to practice. So please unmute yourself. This is the last one. Give your 100% with energy. So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go.
Which language do I
Which
practice?
language do I practice? Which language do we practice?
Do you practice? Which language practice? Do you practice? Does he
Practice,
practice?
do
Which
they
language
practice? Do
practice?
he
Which
practice?
language
Do she
does he
practice? Do
practice?
it
Which
practice?
language
Do
does
practice?
Tony practice?
Which language does she practice? Which language
language
Tony
does he
practice?
practice?
Which language
Which
does
Which
language
language
does
do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do
do
you
we practice?
practice?
Do
Which
we
language
practice? Do
does
they
he
practice? Do
practice?
we
Which
practice?
Thank you.
Practice, does she practice? Does he practice?
Which language do I practice?
Okay, so make sure we are making sentence which language, which country, right? Something like this. So which language do I practice? Which language do you practice? So now this is the last time we're gonna practice it. Then we're gonna move forward. So please unmute yourself for the last time. And this is the okay. So take a challenge that we're gonna make all the sentences using one breath. Ready? So please unmute yourself. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's start.
Which language do I
Which
practice?
Which
Do I
language do you
practice?
practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you
Which language
do you practice?
which
Which
language
language do you
do
practice?
we
Which language does he practice? Which language does he practice?
Which language do we
Which
practice?
language
Which
does Tony
language do
practice?
you
which
practice?
language
Which
does he
language
practice?
does Tony practice?
Thank you. So
Which language does
I need a volunteer. So Zafrina, can you please unmute yourself and give all the sentences?
Which language do I practice? Which language do we practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do they practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does it practice? Which language does Tony practice?
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Please type in the chat box. Thanks. Okay, the last one. Meme, can you please unmute yourself and give a try? So you need to unmute yourself first, Meme. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Bhupasha, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Yep, give it a try.
Yeah. Which language do I practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do you practice? Which language do they practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does she practice? Which language does he practice? Which language does Tony practice?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. Now, I'd like to ask a simple question, and you need to answer me, right? Okay, so just I'm gonna pin it so you can see me. So the first question I'm gonna ask you: do you practice English? Please type in the chat box. Do you practice English? Please type in the chat box. Do you practice English? You have to type a bit faster. Do you practice English? Answer should be yes, I do, right? So do you practice English? Answer should be yes, I do. Okay, next question I'm gonna ask you. Do you practice Chinese? Please type in the chat box. Do you practice Chinese? The answer should be no, I don't, right? No, I don't. So just I'd like to remind you, if you'd like to make interrogative sentence or negative sentence, you need do. So I asked you a question, do you practice? That means I use do for interrogative sentence. And I also asked you, do you practice Chinese? And you answer me, no, I don't. That means for negative, we use do not, right? Okay, next question I'm gonna ask you. So why do you practice? Please type in the chat box. Why do you practice English? Type in the chat box, I'd like to see. Why do you practice English? Please type in the chat box. So if you ask me, I would tell you to increase my income 117 times. That's why I practiced English, right? I practice, if you ask me, why did you practice English? I would tell you 170 times to increase my income, because £1 equals 117 taka in Bangladeshi currency, right? So what's your ultimate goal? Why do you practice English? Okay, give me a full sentence. I practice English because I want to da 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 da. Give me a full sentence, right? So I want to. Okay, why do you practice English? I practice English because I want to da 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 da. Give me the full sentence, right? I practice English because I want to. Okay, so Forrest said, I practice English because I want to be fluent. Excellent answer. So Shana's no shortcut. You have to give me full answer. So Fatima, I practice English because I want to improve my fluency. Excellent answer. Okay, Mahbub said, I practice English because I want to migrate in Europe. Excellent answer. Or I would like to settle in Europe. Okay. Donna said, I want to practice English because I want to improve what? Okay. Asim said, I practice English because I want to improve my English. I'm not sure what you said in Arabic or Urdu. Okay, next one is Zafrina said, I practice English because I want to improve my communication skill. Excellent answer. Burhan said, I practice English because English is international language. Okay, weak answer, right? You have to be very, very specific. You got to know your why. Why do you want to learn English? Okay, Mina said, I practice English because I love learning culture. Okay, that might be another reason. Rifa said, I practice English because to improve speaking 100% in this language. Okay, because I want to improve my speaking in this language. Okay, Sadia said, I practice English because my improve skill. Okay, Sadia, it should be, I practice English because I want to improve my skill. Okay, Tasin said, I practice English because I want to go abroad for my MBA degrees. Excellent. Saba said, I practice English because I want to improve my communication skill. Excellent, excellent. So now, the first question we ask, why? The second question we're gonna ask, how do? The first question was, do you practice English? Second question was, why do you practice English? Now the third question is, how do you practice English? Please type in the chat box. How do you practice English? How do you practice English? Type in the chat box. How? Please type in the chat box. How do you practice English? Give me the answer. How do you practice English? No, not question. Give me the answer. How do you practice English? Type in the chat box. I practice English to become a genius to go abroad. Okay, Hanish? So now the question is, how do you practice English? I practice English by reading aloud. Okay, excellent answer. I practice English through 10 days speaking challenge. Excellent answer. I practice English through internet. Okay. I practice English by speaking. Okay, excellent answer. So the question is how? How do you practice English? How? I practice English by reading again and again. Okay, excellent answer. I listen to native speakers and imitate them. Excellent answer. How do you practice English? Okay, next question I'm going to ask you. Next question I'm going to ask you. Where do you practice English? Please type in the chat box. Where? So it might be on Zoom, it might be with friends, it might be in the classroom, it might be in the center. The question is where? Where do you practice English? Type in the chat box. I'd love to see. Where do you practice English? Where? Okay, I practice English at home with my friend by online. Okay. First said I practice English in Zoom app and then practice with my friends. Okay. The question is where, right? Where do you practice English? Okay, I need a full answer, no shortcut, right? So I practice English in several places, most often on WhatsApp. Okay, excellent answer. So where? Question is where? I practice English in a coaching center. Excellent answer. I practice English via Zoom, chat box, and with close friends. Excellent answer. Okay, next question is when do you practice English? Type in the chat box. When? When do you practice English? When do you practice English? When means time. You need to give me a time. When do you practice English? Okay. So I answered I practice English in at night. Okay. So answer me. When do you practice English? When do you practice English? I practice English in the morning and in the before going to bed. Excellent answer. So for this one, no shortcut, full answer. I practice English at 2:30 p.m. UK time. That should be your answer. Full answer, no shortcut, right? I practice English in the morning and in the evening. Excellent answer. So all I got from you is full sentence. You got to be playful, no shortcut, right? So if you do the shortcut, you will get shortcut result, and that's temporary. You got to play full, 100%. Okay, Mina said I practice English all day long, but most actively at night. Okay, excellent answer. Got it. Got it. Now the question is how long, right? The duration, how long? Type in the chat box. How long do you practice English? How long do you practice English in the classroom? Please type in the chat box. How long do you practice English in the classroom? Or how long is it in your class? So how long do you practice in the classroom? Please type in the chat box. How long do you practice? How long do you practice? Type in the chat box. Okay, so I practice English 90 minutes. Okay, I practice English for 2 hours. Yeah, excellent answer. Okay, excellent, excellent. Yeah, so how long means you got to give me a time, right? So how long? 1 hour, 30 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever it is, right? The next thing is, which language do you practice? Please type in the chat box. Which language do you practice? Please type in the chat box. So which language do you practice? Okay, okay, so now that means you understood the question and you answered me. Now I'm gonna take you to my presentation again, and I'm gonna give you the opportunity to practice this question time and again, right? So let me go to my presentation. Okay, here you go. So now I'm gonna invite you to the breakout room, and all you got to do, so we have practiced with English, first one, right? The second one is IELTS test. I know, and a lot of you are not going for IELTS test, but for the sake of speaking, just say yes, right? So if I ask you, do you like to go for IELTS test? Your answer is yes, I do, right? Otherwise, the next questions would be irrelevant. So that's why you need to say yes. Just imagine you're gonna go for IELTS. Then you need to ask a lot of questions. So why, how, when, and how long do you practice? or how long will you wait to go for the IELTS test? These sort of questions you need to ask. So all you got to do, you need to ask, first question is, do you like to sit for IELTS test? Then why, how, where, when, which center would you like to sit for IELTS test? Or which center do you like to sit for IELTS test? When do you like to sit for IELTS test? Where do you like to sit for IELTS test? So how long will you wait to sit for IELTS test? So this is how you need to make a lot of practice. Now I'm going to invite you in a breakout room. All you got to do, you got to ask and answer. So probably 3 people will be in the room. The first person will ask question and second person will answer. Second person will ask question, third person will answer. So this is how we're gonna finish. So are you ready? Now you have practiced a lot. You know how to make these questions. All you got to do, just now you need to practice. You need to do the implementation. So this is all about implementation right now. So what I'm gonna do, I will invite you to the breakout room. So okay, so if you're new, all you got to do, you will see on the screen is a breakout room. You're gonna say click to join. So just click and you'll be joining in a breakout room. So once you go there, you will see 3 people inside the room, a small room. And first person will start asking about the IELTS test. Second person will answer, and second person will ask, third person will answer. So this is how we're gonna finish. So the topic is IELTS test, right? So can you please type in the chat box? What's the name of the topic? I'd like to see you got it. The topic is IELTS test, right? Type in the chat box. What's the topic name? IELTS test. Yeah, excellent, excellent. So now I have created 10 rooms for you. So please join now. Don't wait here. Go to the breakout room and join. Ready? 3, 2, 1, join. So yeah, you got to be very quick. So please go there with the don't wait here. Please click and join to the breakout room. Yeah, you have to go faster because time is limited. Only I'm gonna give you 3 minutes plus 3 minutes, 6 minutes, right? So please go there. So still I can see here 7 people. So can you please unmute yourself and share with me if you have got any issues? Unmute yourself. So Jafrina, can you join to the breakout room? Please join the breakout room right now. So still I can see 4 people here, right? So Babu, can you please unmute yourself? Any issues? Maisha Sarkar, any issues? Jafrina, please unmute yourself and share with me. So all you got to do, you need to go to the breakout room and you need to practice there.
Very important things.
Okay, then we start about our today's topic about IELTS.
Yeah.
Who will be first?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Do you like to sit for IELTS?
Hi, yeah, I like to.
Please, Rifat, can you tell me why are you interested by the IELTS test?
Because I have applied for the immigration. That's why it's a basic requirement to.
Okay, I am.
I learned English at my university. And when do you practice English? I do practice in the morning and in the evening.
Okay, Asim, have you got anyone else to practice here? Hello, Asim. Can you hear me?
Okay, you ask me question. Okay, can you please
Yeah,
ask me the question?
when do you IELTS? Yeah, when do you sit for IELTS exam?
Yes, I sit for IELTS exam last year.
Okay.
Hello,
Hey,
I
yes.
join now. Yes, I'm not
Yes.
clear about the subject. You can
Okay,
continue.
okay. So you can continue because you not agree in subject, no? Okay, I just talk you some few questions, huh? Hello, Babu. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Okay. So I
You
just
can.
throw you some questions. You answer me. Okay, that is enough.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Tasi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Where from you?
I'm from Dhaka, and you from?
Me also.
Okay.
Which
Where do
university?
you Dhaka do you live in?
I'm from Dhanmondi.
Oh, it's a very good location.
Yes.
I like that. Which class do you reading?
What location in Dhaka?
Jatrabari.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. So now I'm gonna pull up the presentation again, and this is gonna be a very easy topic for you. All you got to do, you need to practice this topic. So the first question is, where do you live? The second question is, why do you live there? Third question is, how long do you live there? Next question is, why is it famous for? And the next one is, if you have got an interesting memory with this place, please share with us. So that's the practice session we got to do. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to think, and then I'm going to invite you again to the breakout room. And once you go there, then you can practice a lot, right? So just 1 minute to think. Just ask and answer this question. So first question I'm going to ask you. So where do you live in? Can you please type in the chat box? Please type in the chat box. Where do you live? I'd like to see where do you live. Okay. Please type in the chat box, where do you live? Okay. So I said playful, no shortcut. I live in blah, 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 right? So that's in no shortcut. I live in Dhaka, right? Full sentence. Okay. The next question is, why do you live there? So I know where do you live in right now. So now next question is, why do you live there? Why? So give me the reason, why do you live there? So the answer should be, I live in Dhaka because da 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 da. I live in London Green Estate because da 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 da, right? So please type in the chat box, why do you live there? So don't play shortcut, right? Play full. Give me the full sentence. I live in Dhaka because I study here, right? Okay, next question is, how long do you live there? Please type in the chat box, how long do you live there? I live there for 2 years. I lived there since my birth. I lived there all my life. I lived there 2 months. I lived there for 2 months. So this should be an answer, right? And next question is, why is it famous for? For example, if you live in Dhaka, why Dhaka is famous for? If you live in Green Estate, London, why is it famous for? right? So please type in the chat box. Give me 2-3 reasons. Why is it famous for? Why is it famous for? Right? Why is it famous for? Okay, it's famous for many things. First of all, da 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 da, and da 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 da. Moreover, da 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 da. Right? So this is how. So Rifat, if you say Pakistan, so you have to be very specific. For example, it might be Lahore, it might be Karachi, it might be Rawalpindi, it might be Zeeland, wherever it is. So you have to be very specific, and then you can say, I live in Faisalabad. The Faisalabad is famous for many things. First of all, this, moreover, this, and this. Give 2-3 reasons why that place is famous for. At least 2, right? Don't go for shortcut. Give me at least 2 reasons why that place is particularly famous for, right? So Zafran said it is famous for its natural beauty. Okay, one reason, and give another reason. Try to speak more, right? The more you're gonna speak, the more you're gonna flame. Okay, next thing is, do you have any interesting memory with this place, right? So if you don't have any memorable story, make up one, right? Make a story, right? So yeah, make a story. Okay, now this time I'm gonna invite you again to the breakout room. All you got to do, you need to go there and you need to ask this question and you need to answer, right? So please, okay, I'm gonna give you the question and answer as well, so that you can okay, copy. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this screen and I'm gonna invite you to the breakout room. So this time, please, once you see you got invitation for the breakout room, go in a minute, right? Go in a minute. Go. You are already invited. Please go inside the room and ask this question one by one. You have to go there very quickly. Just click there, right? Click there. So please go there. If you don't go there, someone is waiting for you. Don't stay here. Please go there. You have to be very quick. Go there, go. So still I can see 4 people are here. No problem at all. So Saba, you can unmute yourself, and Babu, you can unmute yourself as well, and you can ask each other question, right? Just unmute yourself and ask each other. So just think about this. This is your break room. I think, okay. So Babu, you can ask questions. Saba is going to answer you. Saba, can you please unmute yourself? Or POCOM2, please unmute yourself. Okay, excellent. Excellent, got it. Got it.
My whole life there, so that I have a lot of memories about Ponchogar.
Yes. How long do you live?
Since my birth, I'm living in Karachi, so it's almost more than 30 years.
Yes.
You don't understand this?
I have no answer of this question now.
Ayan, are you asking question to Minhas?
Yes.
Job sharing, everything is the best in Dhaka. So that
Punjabi language, we use Punjabi.
Sorry, I don't understand. What language? What
Punjabi,
language?
Punjabi.
Right.
Punjabi and English. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That means you are a Punjabi.
Yes, I am Punjabi.
Oh, fine.
Class
Sorry.
I'm saying your
How
name.
far you? How far?
All right, so we are waiting for everyone else to come back to the main session. Then, so this is the homework, right? You can take a picture, and also we're gonna give this homework to the Facebook page as well, so that you can, practice with this and you can upload this video. So here is the rule. Rule is, first of all, you need to ask this question time and again, and you need to talk for 3 minutes. Can you please type in the chat box how many minutes you need to talk about this topic? Type in the chat box. How many minutes you have to speak regarding this topic? Type in the chat box. So I'd like to see your answer, right? Yeah, 3 minutes, right? So now I'd like to share with you why it's so important. So probably a few of you, who are really interested in going for IELTS exam. And what I found is most of the students, who will struggle with IELTS speaking part is cue card, right? So IELTS has got, in speaking, you have got 3 parts. So number 1, the examiner will ask you questions. So what's your name? Why would you like to sit for IELTS exam? Would you like to go, do a study or work? So this sort of question is personal question, right? And after that, the examiner will give you a cue card, something like this. And the examiner will give you this cue card, and he's gonna or she's gonna give you the pencil and a piece of paper as well to think about this topic and to write down a few things. So while you're speaking, you can see those things and you can keep speaking. So that's called cue card. And the third part is once you answer these questions, so examiner will ask you some deep questions. Can you remember what I mean by deep question? And you need to answer it. So for cue card, you need to speak at least 2 minutes. How many minutes you need to speak for cue card? Please type in the chat box. In IELTS exam, in a speaking test, you have to speak for 2 minutes, right? But now we are practicing for 3 minutes, right? So if you can practice for 3 minutes, I know when you go for the exam in IELTS institute or IELTS center, you will be a bit nervous and blah, blah, blah. This thing happens, right? So that's why if you practice, if you have got stamina for 3 minutes to speak, I think 2 minutes would be easier for you then. So that's why. So 3 minutes, all you got to do, how are you gonna practice these things? So you will say, give a presentation. So you need to say, hi, my name is Hassan Habib, and today my topic is a place I live in, and I'd like to share with you. I live in Harlow, Essex. It's located in the UK. It's 25 minutes away from London. I mean, if you drive, but if you take train, probably it might take 1 hour. And I leave this place because it's a beautiful town, a small town in the UK. And moreover, my wife, she works in Stansted Airport and is 15 minutes away by train. And I work in London, East London, and it takes 25 minutes by driving. And also there are some few friends who live there. That's why I have chosen this place to live. And I live here for more than 8 years, because before that I used to live in Birmingham, and when I used to study at Birmingham City University. And once I finished my study, then I was invited one of my friends to visit him. And once I came here, I love this small town, and that's why I'm living here for long. And the place is famous for many reasons, and I'd like to share with you one or two. So, I mean, if you drive down like 10 minutes, you will see a small place, beautiful place. It's called Marina Village. Especially the people living there in a boat, and there is a pub around the corner. Though I don't drink alcohol, but sometimes I go there with my wife, and I drink tea or coffee with my wife, and I stay sometime. It's I mean, if you go there in the evening, it's lovely, but it's locked down. I miss that, right? And I have got so many interesting memory with this place, and still I can share it to one of them. So I used to work in a McDonald's. So when I came in the first time, and my shift started from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just left the McDonald's and I got my bag and I started walking, and all of a sudden I saw the police is coming in front of me, and they stopped the car and they stopped me, and they just opened the door and they came, and I felt like I'm a criminal or something else. And they said, "What are you doing here at 3 o'clock late night?" And I said, "Sir, can you remember? Just you have ordered your Big Mac, fries, and drink, and I serve you from McDonald's, and I'm that guy." And I said, sorry, I do apologize. I stop you. So would you like to take a ride, and I can drop you at home? I said, "No, I'm fine. I can walk, and it's a fresh air." So that's the interesting memory. Still, I can remember with this place. So thanks for listening to me, right? So this is how I need to talk at least 3 minutes. So now my question is, so I just gave an example. So first of all, you need to ask and answer. Then when you're ready with the answer, you should say, "Hey, my name is Hassan Habib, and now I'd like to share with the topic. And the topic is a place I live in." Then you need to start at least 3 minutes. So my question is, can you do it? And can you give a presentation and record and submit inside the communal group? Please type yes if you can. If you cannot, type no. I'd like to see how many of you can do the same thing as I did right now in front of you. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people are saying yes I can, yes I can. So I'm going to give you some sort of tips or techniques. So probably this is your first topic, even if you haven't thought about the IELTS, right? Just you have attended the challenge, and now a lot of students, they are saying yes I can, yes I can. I'm glad that you can, right? So this is how you need to do. So all you got to do, you need to just look at to the topic, and then you need to ask the question and try to answer a bit more. Can you remember the first question? So the question was, where do I live in, right? I said I live in Harlow. It's a small town, and it's 25 minutes away from London. And if you take train, it takes 1 hour. So what I'm doing, I'm just making a lot of sentences. I'm lingering my speech. The same thing you got to do. The second question, I said, why do you live there? So I gave 2-3 reasons why I live in Harlow, a small town, right, in Essex. Then, how long do I live there? I said I lived there how long, and also I said where I used to live before, right? And the next thing, why is it famous for? So I gave 3-4 reasons why I have, why this place is famous for. And then I have shared a small story, and that was the real story, truth story with me, and still I can remember. So that's the interesting story with this place I shared it. The same thing you got to do. You need to start and you need to finish. And all you can do is the first time. I think you have got a stopwatch in your mobile phone. Do you have? Please type in the chat box stopwatch if you have got one in your mobile phone. I'd like to see how many of you have got a stopwatch. Yeah, you have got a stopwatch. If you don't have a stopwatch, no problem. You have got, right, watch. So once you start speaking, just keep an eye on the clock and just see how long can you speak. So if you cannot speak for 3 minutes, that's fine as well. I don't mind. But you got to speak for 3 minutes. Your aim should be for 3 minutes, right? So this is how you got to improve. Now, my question is, will you play full, or will you be that lady who will be come back inside the class, let's say after 3-4 weeks, and it's gonna start crying, right? Don't be that lady, right? Be committed. Just think about yourself that, yeah, I got to play full. I have paid 10,000 taka or 100 pounds for this program. Just get a feeling like this inside, right? And you're gonna do it. Now, can you remember? So if you perform well, and if you are the best performer, what's the best prize from hassle-free education? Please type in the chat box. I'd like to see. Already got a gift from us, the 10-day challenge. But if you become the best performer, what would be your prize? Type in the chat box. I'd like to see. I'd like to see what would be your prize, and how much is worth of it. Is 200 pounds. Is IELTS preparation course completely free? Yeah, so 200 pounds, there's gonna be IELTS preparation course free. So why don't you give a try and win the prize? Right? I want you give your best, play full, right? With your 100% energy. Try to snatch the prize. Save your 200 pounds if you'd like to. And the last thing I have shared with you, learn from the best, right? Learn from the best. So anyway, you're gonna have a class with Steve, who is a British native IELTS speaker, and that's gonna be completely free, one class. And after that, I mean, if you'd like to continue with him, just you can continue, right? Again, I'm gonna remind you, learn from the best. And I'm preaching what I'm doing, and I have showed you my invoice, right? Last night I paid 14,990 because I'm learning from the best, who trained Bill Clinton, right? So I'm not playing small, I'm playing full, right? I'm playing bigger game. So all I want from you is play full, play bigger game, so that you can achieve a lot, right? So now we have taken a lot of time right now. So now the last question I'm gonna ask you, who's gonna record it and submit the homework? So type in the chat box homework. I'd like to see how many of you would like to submit the homework tomorrow. Please type in the chat box. I'd like to see. So don't regret, right? At the end, you're gonna say, well, yeah, I think if I could try a little bit more, I could get the prize, and I can get the IELTS preparation course completely free, right? So again, I'm saying play full, right? Okay. Thank you. So if you miss a few classes, don't worry about this. Today I'm gonna give you all the classes recorded link. So all you need to do, you need to just watch the video and you need to submit your homework. Still, your homework will be counted for the prize. So now the last thing, I'd like to take your feedback. So this is the homework. Anyway, you're gonna get it. So all you got to do, you need to practice 10 times in front of the mirror, and you need to upload your video to IELTS and Study in the UK, right? This is the Facebook group, IELTS and Study in the UK. So I repeat, your homework is a place you live, and you need to ask a lot of questions. Then you need to speak 3 minutes. So you're gonna start from beginning and keep going, and 3 minutes you stop. And record the video or audio and just upload on the group. Now, so how was today's class? So if you think it's outstanding, 10 out of 10. So put outstanding. If you think it's 7+ out of 10, excellent. If it is okay, I mean 5 out of 10, put okay. I'd like to see. Yeah. I'd like to see your feedback. Okay, I don't mind, because feedback is very, very important. If you think the class is shit, type in the chat box shit. I don't mind, right? And I'll go back to you and I'll say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, madam. So what was wrong with my class? Can you please give me the feedback? I'll take your feedback and I'll improve, right? So the life is all about improvement. It's continuous process, right? If you stay still, if you're stagnant, you are dying. So you got to improve yourself. You need to take the feedback, right? So thank you very much for joining today's class, and I'm here to help you, to serve you. And thanks, Hassle Free Education. The last thing I would like to request you, can you please type in the chat box, thanks, Hassle Free Education team, right? Probably you don't know. I'll introduce you one by one. Probably you have invited by them to join this class. So there are a lot of people, working behind the scene to help you, to serve you, right? So just type in the chat box, thanks, Hassle Free Education team, right? This excluding myself, they are working behind the scene. So they put all the updated in different groups, they invite you, they do all the things, right? Just I take the class. Yeah, I would like to thank them really from my heart, and I'd like to thank you as well to join this class. So hopefully you have enjoyed full, you played full, and see you in the next class, right? Until then, bye-bye.